All right, well, it's a real honor to be able to collaborate with all of you at this. I really appreciate the chance to talk a little bit about how at DeVry University we've been grappling with many of the same issues that we've heard so much about over the last day or so, and tell you a little bit about how we've approached those and the imperfect solutions that we've come up with so far. Very happy to be placed in this afternoon's program because like the previous presenters, we're kind of approaching this big data analytics puzzle more from the business side as opposed to the data science side that we heard more about yesterday and this morning. So I want to acknowledge my co-authors, Dr. Evans and Dr. Saran, who weren't able to be here with me. They are from somewhat more distant parts of the country. I'm based in Southern California, and so when someone said, do you want to go to Las Vegas for a weekend, I was completely up for that. Just a little bit quickly about DeVry University so you understand where we're coming from as we look at these things. We were founded back in 1931. There was an actual gentleman named Herman DeVry who set up a school for training people in electronics in Chicago. And in those days, of course, electronics meant playing with vacuum tubes. So it is kind of baked into our DNA, number one, to have some technology involved in everything that we do, even though we've grown beyond purely technology focused, and we now offer programs in business and the graphic arts. But still, mainly we're business and we're technology, and we kind of mix those two together. So in our College of Business and Management, we say we produce technology-enabled business people, and in our College of Engineering and Information Sciences, they try to produce business-enabled technologists. So it was a natural for us to look at as this whole area of data analytics and big data became prominent on the horizon for us to look at how those two things could come together in that area. Also kind of baked into our DNA is being very career focused, and so we're very interested in how to prepare people not just for the first job that they get after they graduate, but really to set them on a career path, which is very challenging in this area because, as we've talked about already, exactly what that career path is going to be is still very indistinct, but we're taking our best shot at it. It's kind of a unique place to work because at a particular location we have a fairly small number of students. There's the Long Beach campus where I'm from with the palm trees, and a typical campus or center, if you're teaching on site, is a few hundred, maybe 1,000 students, and so it has very much the feel of a very small college where you bump into the same students in the same classes over and over. But then we also operate at this national scale where when we want to put together a new course or a new concentration or a new degree program, we can pull people in from all our locations across the country who have expertise in that area and leverage our home office capabilities in IT, academic technologies, and management. So as we looked at business intelligence and analytics and said, how do we want to carve out our particular piece of this, this was what we initially came up with in the College of Business and Management. And I'll get the obligatory unicorn reference out of the way. One way of thinking about this and relating it to what we've talked about earlier is we don't want to try to produce unicorns. We decided we could best try to produce unicorn whisperers. The managers, the facilitators who could get the unicorn herd all moving in the right direction and leverage the results that it produces for business. Another way of looking at it is, I think I'm quite taken with this metaphor we've been hearing about of putting 2 or 3 people together in a unicorn costume. And of course, that's not going to work if the person in the head and the person in the tail are trying to move in opposite directions. And so what we are trying to do is take the person in that costume who represents the business skill set, and we could probably talk for a long time about whether that should be in the head or in the tail, but get the business person at least familiar enough with the analytics and the data science side that they can talk to and coordinate with that other half of the unicorn and get them both moving in the same direction. So in that sense, we're very much on the same page with, I think, what Dr. Luftman was talking about of infusing knowledge of IT generally, of analytics in particular, more broadly in management and not just confining it to an analytics or an IT department. So what we have is an MBA concentration. We also offer that as a graduate certificate. We also have an undergraduate concentration in our Bachelor of Science in Business Management and Technology Management programs. I'm going to focus on the graduate program because of time limitations, and also that's what we have the most experience in working with so far. And we basically decided that those management folks needed to understand themes, the broad themes of business intelligence and analytics, how to initiate, manage, and use the results of projects and initiatives in that area, and how that's going to impact the organization. They need some hands-on familiarity with the methods and tools because you really can't manage what you don't understand or have any hands-on experience with. We did opt for probably more breadth rather than depth, but kind of our solution there, as you'll see, was to be broad and shallow, but with spikes down or deep dives at particular points to give people some detailed hands-on experience with doing the actual work, so they don't just kind of have a 50,000-foot view. And we rolled this out and taught our first course at the graduate level just in March, and so far, as we'll talk about, the response has been quite positive. So this is embedded within a typical MBA program with the typical MBA objectives: understand principles of business, be able to communicate, be able to analyze, be able to collaborate. So we can kind of start with those things as a given. The objectives we came up with for our business intelligence and analytics management concentration students specifically were, to know about tools to the extent of knowing what they do and how to pick the right tool for the right job, what their strengths and weaknesses are. I think this one is kind of key and fits in very well with what we've been talking about of the data-enabled business manager as a translator, being able to speak the language of both the data analyst and the business person and be able to kind of translate and mediate back and forth between those, understanding the positive and negative impacts, and then being able to operate at a strategic level with all this. So we divided up a framework. Everybody uses the same words, but I think in some cases we don't all use them to mean exactly the same thing. So the definitions that we came up with operationally for us to use were analytics involves modeling, predicting, optimizing. Knowledge, business knowledge, is basically how you collect, manage, curate, store all that data that you're analyzing. So that's basically the database and the data management part. And then business analysis gets into understanding your current business processes and how to change them. So that gets into the things like project management, requirement specification, process analysis, process improvement, and so on. And then business intelligence we use as kind of the overarching umbrella term of being able to understand and apply and make all of that together work in order to achieve positive business results. So in working with the curriculum, again, we're embedded within an existing MBA program, so everything on the left there is the standard courses that every MBA student takes at our Keller Graduate School of Management. And so what we had to work with was basically within the concentration 4 courses, only 2 core courses that we can guarantee that every BIAM concentration student is going to take. And so we really had to pack everything that we regarded as truly essential into those 2 courses, BIM 500 and 510. Then they get to choose from a suite of 2 other courses that must be in the BIM concentration, and then they get to pick 2 general electives, which we would encourage them to also pick 2 additional BIM concentration courses to get exposed to more of that, but they can go off the board there and go further into marketing or finance or whatever their particular interest is. So this is the set of courses that we have right now. The applications of business analytics 1 and 2 are really the survey of everything you need to know about business analytics as a manager packed into two courses. And then the others are the electives that they can choose from. And we co-opted 1 course from our Global Supply Chain Management program, which happened to have a lot of analytics content. So just a very quick look at some of the things we're doing and teaching strategies in those courses. In the two business analytics courses, we rely very heavily on labs where we provide the students with a lot of video support for when they're taking them, because these courses can be offered either on-site or online. So if it's an online student, we want to bake in a lot of videos to give them guidance to work through the labs. They do a number of case studies, but they also work in fairly technical labs with, we leverage Excel add-ins because as MBA students, they're already very familiar and comfortable with Excel. We also expose them to R for some data analytical work, and we expose them to MongoDB. We lean toward tools with GUI interfaces or where we can graft on a GUI interface like RoboMongo, again, just because we don't want to get bogged down in syntax issues of the R command line. We want to get them into doing the analysis and working with the results and applying the results. On the internet analytics side, we work a lot with Google Analytics and a Google Analytics simulator that we developed to give them a feel for that. They do a big course project on designing and implementing a web measurement plan. And on the database side right now, we're more heavily relational than we really want to be. But we've built the course around a lot of the Microsoft technologies. They work with the AdventureWorks operational database and data warehouse, build some data cubes with Business Intelligence Studio and so forth. And we want to get more MongoDB and NoSQL stuff into this course. We're also looking at standing up a Hadoop cluster and being able to give them some hands-on experience with Hadoop in the very near future. So that's my contact information and also the websites. I understand the presentation will be up on this website, but if you just can't wait, I've also given you a QR code there where you can download it from my site. So thank you very much.